Mr. President, I come to the floor to speak about President Obama's State of the Union address last week, a speech that I believe laid out a positive and a forceful agenda for strengthening our middle class and for accelerating our nation's economic recovery. Mr. President, over the past year, our nation's economic progress has become unmistakable and undeniable. In my home state of Delaware, more people are working, people spend much less time looking for work, and job growth is at the strongest it's been since the 1990s. Nationally, we're amidst the longest period of sustained private sector job growth on record. And of particular interest to me, our manufacturing sector has come back strongly, as manufacturers have created nearly 800,000 jobs in the last 4 years, jobs that make up the foundation of our 21st century middle class and our economy. And our unemployment rate has dropped to its lowest level since before the Great Recession. Our growing private sector isn't just creating jobs now. They're also laying the foundation for the jobs of the future. As test scores continue to improve and high school graduation rates have reached record highs, and as our president said, more Americans are finishing college than ever before, we are laying a path that ensures future generations of Americans can thrive as well. But our work remains unfinished. Though we are right to turn the page on the fiscal crisis here at home, crises do remain real in the lives of far too many Americans, families I listen to who continue to struggle to get into and stay in our middle class. For many in the middle class, wages have remained stubbornly stagnant as incomes for the wealthy have continued to grow. At the same time, too many Americans have just stopped looking for work altogether during the recession and haven't begun that job search again. Simply put, we have a lot of work to do together to ensure that the middle class experiences the benefits of this recovery. On that note, I appreciated President Obama's call for an agenda that would do a lot to strengthen our middle class. And though this isn't what you'll hear about in the news, many of his ideas should enjoy bipartisan support. I'd like to spend a few minutes on some of the areas I think are ripe for bipartisan collaboration and that would go a long way towards actually helping middle-class families and our nation as a whole. First, it's no secret to anyone that our country's infrastructure is badly outdated and in need of repair. From our ports and roads to our bridges and railways, we have steadily racked up a national debt of investment that we will need to pay forward. The only question is when and how we do it. Historically, infrastructure, fixing roads and bridges and ports and railways, has not been a partisan issue. It's been something that's a core function of our federal government from its very founding. It is in no small part what federal government was created to help do. Last Tuesday, the president laid out ideas for thinking more creatively about how to make these core investments, from improving efficiency to bringing private capital off the sidelines. And I've been encouraged to hear Republican colleagues discussing infrastructure as something where they can work with our president. So let's get this done. Let's solve our highway trust fund challenges for good and make the long-term investments that will put people back to work and strengthen our nation's economic backbone. Second, the president's proposal to expand access to community colleges is something I hope will spark a broader discussion about how to make higher education more accessible and more affordable. I understand there's real disagreements here about how best to pay for it or how wide its scope should be, but that's what we can and should work on together. We all know that higher education is essential to ensuring Americans have the skills they'll need in this century, and we know that community colleges can and should play a central role in achieving that mission. In manufacturing in particular, community colleges like Del Tech in my home state play a central role in partnering with local businesses to create a talent pipeline that sustains a community and its economy. In Delaware, the SEED and the Inspire scholarships give students who are willing to work hard the chance to go to college and to learn the skills that will help them to contribute to Delaware's economy after they finish schooling. We can replicate Delaware's example across the country and find ways to work together that make community college and further higher education affordable and accessible. So let's work on this together. Lastly, the president laid out some common sense tax and work proposals to help give middle-class families more of a realistic leg up, expanding the tax credits for families with children, and streamlining the child care support just makes sense to me. Making it easier for middle-class families to save for their kids' college education and to save for retirement at the same time would go a long way toward helping families to plan for the long term. Around the country, too many of our workplaces lack family and medical leave policies that appreciate what it really takes to raise a family and live a healthy life. And the President's proposal to work with states to improve their policies would be a great step and would help those communities that choose to create policies that suit their own local situations. So let's work together on these ideas. Let's do something for middle-class families in our country. Mr. President, with a Republican Congress and a Democratic White House, we need to come together if we're going to get anything meaningful done. And as President Obama made clear, we have a lot of important and difficult work to do. Our economy has come a long way from the Great Recession, but there's still work to do to strengthen our middle class. There's still work to do to broaden the opportunity that has always been at the heart of the American dream. We can move forward together, and it's my sincere hope that we will rise to that occasion, that we will seize this opportunity and do the critical work of building and sustaining our vital middle class. Thank you, and with that, Mr. President, I yield the floor.